Hello again. I wonder how many viewers have clear and distinct memories of the situation in this country 40 years ago. And they remember what left wing and progressive folk thought was absolutely right and humane in those days. And have they noticed that those values held by left wingers were precisely the opposite of those now held by those same types? Let me give you two instances of what I'm talking about. 40 years ago, in 1984, 1985, it was an article of faith for the left that no coal mines should ever be closed down. Closing down coal mines was seen as the most dreadful action by Margaret Thatcher's government, and when she tried to wean the nation off reliance on that dirtiest of fossil fuels, she was savagely denounced and the nation was split during the miners' strike. Every coal mine which was closed was regarded as a tragedy and an act of wickedness. I'm not exaggerating here. In the mid 1980s, this was the hill upon which almost every left winger was prepared to die. It was the great cause of well, I'd say the great cause of the age, certainly the great cause in British politics 40 years ago. Remember how fierce was the solidarity that folk felt during the miners' strike, and the dreadful sense of betrayal of the working classes which shutting down any pit represented. Today, the idea of opening a coal mine, something which has been suggested from time to time as a way of alleviating our reliance upon imported fossil fuels from other countries, is treated as being absolutely outrageous. Anybody with the slightest left-wing sympathies knows that coal mines are the devil's work, and that only some madman in the pay of oil companies or something would even consider an idea like that. Coal is seen as being second only to uranium in the harm which it causes to the environment, and the idea of coal mining is the very antithesis of all that it means to be progressive, caring, and environmentally conscious. The Green Party is probably about as left-wing as political parties in Britain get these days. Can you imagine them being in favour of coal mines? Much the same reversal of strongly held views may be seen when we consider state benefits. In the mid-1980s, being on the dole was a tragedy for people. The obvious hope of everybody was to be able to work. The left said that paid employment was a right and that Margaret Thatcher was consigning a generation to the scrap heap by allowing unemployment to rise to 2 or 3 million. This is the chief reason why she is still widely hated, because of the rise in unemployment and so many people being dependent on social security benefits. Everybody desperately wanted a job and could not get one. Nobody wished to be on the dole. Today, 4 million people of working age in Britain are wholly reliant on state benefits and not obliged to be looking for work. What the unemployment figure really is, nobody can say for sure, but at least 8 million people are drawing universal credit. Whenever the government tries to get those 4 million people that don't have to look for jobs to try and get some work, when the government tries to persuade them to take jobs, there is an outcry. It seems that today it is the right to remain on the dole that is the important and humane left-wing perspective. It's trying to get people off the dole and into work, which is now seen as heartless and cruel. The left-wing perspective there, just as with coal mining, has simply reversed. What I find a little disconcerting is that nobody on the left seems to realise that progressive views today are diametrically opposed to those of a generation ago. I am reminded of George Orwell's novel 1984. When the population were at war with Eurasia, they simply forgot at once that they had ever been at war with East Asia. Then, when the enemy changed again, they just adopted the new enemy without even realizing that their entire worldview had changed. This is how I feel when I hear people going on about how dreadful fossil fuels like coal are, and that only dreadful right-wing folk like President Trump could ever be in favour of coal mines. I feel it when I hear people complaining about the latest efforts by the government to get people off the dole and find jobs for them, and the howls of protest from the progressive types. I sometimes wonder if I'm the only person in Britain whose memory goes back more than a week or two. Surely there must be others who remember what I'm talking about here. Does nobody else remember slogans such as coal, not dole?